our political analyst and professor at Curtin University, Joe Siracusa. Good morning, Joe. So
good morning,
it's
Pete.
still there. It's still hot in Taiwan since we last spoke. Many people have suggested, though, the attacks or the show of force by China isn't as grand as they might have expected, but it's still quite a message that China is sending. How much do you think is President Xi here playing for a domestic audience?
Well, probably 50 to 60%. But by the same token, the PLA or the military are doing exactly what they've been trained to do, is to put as much pressure on Taiwan and Taiwan's neighbors. I mean, that's a demonstration not only for Taiwan, Pete, but for the people, the nations around Taiwan that might like to help them one day. So it's just really telling them to back off. Like us, that's right. As a result of Pelosi's trip, and of course, Pelosi is an endorsement why 82-year-old people have to resit their license. She didn't have a right to go there, like a chicken crossing the road. And the president didn't have the guts to lean on her. He should have, as a matter of fact. But look, every time a nation does something, that's one less thing they can do the next time. So what the Chinese are doing, they're up in the ante. They have a lot of military power in their neck of the woods, and they're not afraid to demonstrate it. And what's interesting is I saw a poll the other day, and 90% of the people in Taiwan want the status quo. They're not in a mood to fight anybody. So here the United States is taking the lead, and Australia right behind the United States, telling the Chinese where to get on and off the bus. And so, and of course, the Chinese now are giving the Americans what I call the Australian treatment. They're not talking to them on a number of issues. And of course, as soon as Australia cranks up its next defense review with Houston and Smith, it's going to be anti-Chinese. We've gone from protecting or defending Taiwan in terms of human rights to the Chinese are coming. So I think everybody just ought to tamp this down a little bit and have a rethink. And of course, while all this is going on, the United States has killed the number 2 guy in Al Qaeda with a drone in Kabul after on the morrow of the trip that Pelosi was taking. So we proved once again that we don't have to send 20,000 people to do what a drone can do. Yeah. So I'd like to say, Pete, I said once on your show that President Biden was probably leaving his successor a war, and maybe with Russia, because it's going to be drawn out, and there's all kinds of chances here for misunderstanding. But we're close to a war in the Middle East with Iran. If we don't get a deal with them, if we don't lock them up, the Israelis will show us how it's done, and we're all going to be in on it together. And of course, now we're tiptoeing to war in Beijing. So President Biden has left his successor with 3 possible wars, and the United States can't handle that.